Is Bayley. How did it all begin, your adventure with music?
Well, when I was at school, I was always interested in music, and there was a hideous rock band, school band, playing covers of the Sex Pistols. What inspired me was the energy of the music, and that really started me off into heavy music and going round to my friends' houses and swapping albums and everything. And then I think what really started my journey was listening to the first Black Sabbath album. And when I heard that album, it was so different to anything else. Then I was hooked on metal for life. And since then, it's been a lifetime love and obsession. So that started me really with a deep interest in heavy music. And one of my first jobs was working in a hotel, cleaning. And I had to work the night shift to clean the hotel. And I used to take my tapes into work and listen to my tapes while I was cleaning. And they had a piano in one of the rooms, and I used to mess about with the piano and in my dinner break and try and do a bit of singing. And I suppose what happened was I was just sick of cleaning the hotel and mopping up after people and cleaning up after drunks and God knows what. And I thought, well, if I don't change my life, I'm still going to be cleaning this hotel in another 5 years. And it's not really what I want to do. I'm just doing something. And so I really thought about what I wanted to do. If I could do anything, what would I do? And that was, I thought, well, if I could do anything, I would be a professional singer, I would sing rock music, and I would tour the world with a heavy metal band. And that was it. That's what I focused on from them. So every time I could, when nobody was looking, in between cleaning, I'd start writing lyrics and start working on song ideas. And then in the town that I come from, it's a very, very small town called Tamworth in England, and they have a great music section in the paper. And I saw an advert, heavy metal singer required, no experience necessary. I was like, what? And then an old friend of mine was a drummer, and they were in this band and said, oh, my band's looking for a singer, and it was the same band. So I got an audition, and we didn't have microphones or anything, and just tiny little lamps like this, and we're in the bass player's garage. And I just screamed and screamed some words over something, and I managed to get it. And that started out as Wolfsbane, and that was my first serious band. We weren't very good musicians, but we just kept together.
It was 1984.
Yeah, 1984 was when we did our first show. That was, we did Tamworth Arts Centre, and we did Tamworth Rock Festival, free festival. And yeah, it was a great time. It was a time when Donington, Monsters of Rock was big in the UK, and metal was big around the world in the 80s. So it was a great time, really, to get started, and we were really enthusiastic about putting on a big show. And I stole from the hotel a huge tablecloth. It was the biggest tablecloth you could get. And we painted that up with Wolfsbane on it to be the first backdrop. So even though we were one of the newest bands in Tamworth, we still had the biggest backdrop because we're all huge Kiss fans and we wanted something big.
Blaze, what was the highlight of Wolfsbane days?
There's so many great things that we did. Crazy situations that we were in. One night we played a gig in Brighton, and the drummer fell off the stage because it wasn't actually a proper backstage. It was a wall. They just put paper up to divide the room up, and the drummer fell off the back of the stage. And I think one of the big things was we came from just being nothing, just being the biggest band in our small town, then the biggest band in Birmingham, then the biggest unsigned metal band in the UK. And we kept going, playing the music that we wanted. And one time we got to play Wembley Arena. We were special guests. It was called the Great British Music Weekend. And it was the first time they had the Brit Awards. and we were invited to play this special gig, and we were one of 5 bands. We were supporting Ozzy Osbourne, and that was an incredible day because we were there in front of thousands of people, and we were live on national radio at the same time. So that was a huge highlight in my Wolfsbane career. Fire.
Wolfsbane worked with famous producers, Rick Rubin and Brendan O'Brien. Would you tell us something more about it?
Well, we first got together with Rick Rubin because we played our first gig supporting King Diamond in London at Hammersmith Odeon, and our agent got us this gig. And basically, we sat all the money that we had. We were only a little band. We didn't have a record deal or anything. We spent on hiring a huge backline. So we had massive amount of Marshall cabinets and amps. Even though we didn't really own them, we hired them all to look big for the day because it was the first time we ever played Hammersmith Odeon, you know, even supporting somebody. And anyway, Kerrang came and reviewed us at that gig. And what happened was, when the magazine came out, then it was the inside page, and our review from King Diamond was there, and here was a big review of Slayer. And Rick Rubin is the producer of Slayer. He's also a co-manager of the band. And he read the Slayer interview, then he saw the little picture of us and read the review of Wolfsbane from the King Diamond gig, and it was quite a... It wasn't like a great review, but it was an interesting review. And then he asked around to see if we had a record deal and everything, and he managed to get in touch with somebody who'd actually seen one of our demo tapes on a market stall in New York where people trade tapes of new bands. And he managed to track down that tape, and he listened to our demo, and then one morning I get a phone call. "Hello, this is Rick Rubin from America." I said, "What?" I said, "Rick Rubin, the Beastie Boys and Slayer." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What are you phoning me for?" And he says, "I've just been listening to your demo tape, and I'm wondering if you have a record deal." I said, "Well, we're talking to a couple of people, but so far." I said, "Well, I'm really interested in signing your band. So send me some more stuff." And we started talking, and then he signed us up, and he flew us over to LA to make our first album in Sound City Studios there, which had quite a bit of history. And it was a crazy experience. And it was the first time we ever worked with a producer. And Rick Rubin is very much song-orientated, and he's also vibe about the band. So he wants the whole picture to sound good, and then he's interested in the technical details. So he really, he tore some of our songs to pieces and put them back together and stuff like that. And we learnt so much about constructing the song and writing the songs, and a lot about recording, and, you know, how to get over the nerves when the red light goes on and all of this business. And that was our first album, Live Fast, Die Fast. And we toured a little bit with that album. And then Brendan O'Brien was the in-house producer at that time for Deaf American, and he'd done a couple of things. He worked as engineer on the Black Crowes album, and he's a very talented guitarist as well. So when we wanted to make the second album, Downfall the Good Guys, then Rick Rubin sent him over to record that for us. And it turned out great. And he's a great musician, so he's song-orientated and working on the melodies and backing vocals and stuff like this. So we learnt a lot from him as well. And then, of course, he went on, after he worked with Wolfsbane, to work with a lot of other bands like Aerosmith and Pearl Jam and all of that after he worked with us.
after 5 years with Wolfsbane, you get a call from Steve Harris.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'd been on tour with Iron Maiden, and we did a song called I Like It Hot, and we had a video